And welcome to New Surge Live this week, folks. Joe White on your internet radio and podcasting device, as always. I am recording this Friday, September 16th. Oh, man. What a week. What a week. We have a new WWE champion, a new SmackDown Women's champion and set of tag team champions. Got to go to Backlash in Richmond this past Sunday. A lot of stuff going on. But I want to start off with something a little bit more, a little bit different. Because as you know, we're not just a wrestling podcast. Start off with a little announcement. We found ourselves a new home, so to speak, a new network, so to speak. As you know, New Surge Live about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, terminated its relationship with 1640 PWPR. It was a bitter breakup, so to speak. Not one that I wanted, but it happened. And two very good friends of mine, who I consider friends of mine, who do excellent work in this industry of podcasting. One being AC from Cool Down with AC, and the other being Jeff Edwards of Blading for Truth, who's been on this show many a times. They stuck around. And a year later, they're realizing that maybe I got out while the getting was good, I guess. I don't know. Because those two have now decided to split off and form their own network because King Firehawk pretty much said that 1640 is what it is and he never plans to take it any further. Even though when he very first pitched the concept of my show coming to there, he wanted it to get bigger. He wanted it to get bolder. He even mentioned making money off that network. And it very well could have gotten to that point if a little bit more time and effort were put into it. Now, look, I get it, folks. We all work 9 to 5ers, or some of us even, 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts. I just started a new job working 4 10-hour days a week. Working till 7 o'clock every day. It's rough on the family. I get it. Trust me. I got 3 kids to worry about. But when you set out to do a venture and you start off wanting to do something big and you got all these great plans for it, and you have people that are willing to follow through with it, like myself, like a Jeff Edwards, why not let them take the reins and help? I tried, folks. Trust me, I tried. And because I was associated with Rick Hendrickson in my efforts, that got in the way of things, and I got brushed aside and thrown out in the cold. So hopefully when we join this new network here, when we join this network with Jeff Edwards and AC, things will go better. I truly believe, folks, that things will get better with this new venture. Apparently it is, we're going to have round tables on this. And, I'm happy to be on this new one. Follow us on Twitter at CoolTruthNet. They're on Spreaker and iTunes. They've opened up SoundCloud and YouTube. Nothing on there yet, according to Jeff Edwards. So, at CoolTruthNet, CoolTruthNet on Twitter is where you can find this new network. It's the Cool Truth Podcasting Network. Check them out, folks. So moving on here, that's some of the news. I'm going to move on to something a little more crazy, if you will. Well, I found this on the internet. Dying woman throws a party for 30 guests and kills herself at the end. This is courtesy of littlethings.com. I'm going to go ahead and read this article. This is crazy, man. In July 2016, Betsy Davis invited 30 of her closest friends and family to a weekend party at a house in Southern California. The invitation read, "These circumstances are unlike any party you have attended before, requiring emotional stamina, candorness, and openness. She also noted that the party's firm one rule was no crying in front of her. In 2013, the 41-year-old artist was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which is what that ice bucket challenge is all about. ALS is incurable and affects nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord. Betsy was losing all control of her body and it gradually shut down, so she decided to hold this gathering as a joyous way to say goodbye before becoming one of the first Californians to take a lethal dose of drugs. Yes, the 2-day party would be fun, full of laughter, but would culminate in her suicide. I don't mean to laugh, but goddamn, what a way to go. Come watch me die, folks. The idea was hard for Betsy's loved ones to grasp, but Betsy was able to give her final performance as she wanted to. And this article shows several pictures of this woman. Beautiful woman, actually. In July 2016, Betsy Davis, who is 41, emailed 30 of her friends and family members and invited them to a 2-day party. Betsy shared the weekend's detailed schedules with her guests, along with the precise hour that she planned to slip into a coma. It was a difficult decision to attend the party, but as you imagine, Betsy's loved ones wouldn't have missed it for the world. More than 30 people came from all across the country, spent 2 days at a glorious mountainside home in Southern California. Guests played instruments. They ate pizza from Betsy's favorite restaurants and watched screenings of her favorite movies. Loved ones say the painter and performance artist pictured turned her death into a final performance. After gradually losing control of her body, Davis felt a rush of empowerment. She spent months planning her final exit. She would become one of the first residents of California to take a lethal dose of drugs under the state's new doctor-assisted suicide law for the terminally ill. During the party, Betsy's caretakers translated her speech for the guest as it was slurred because of her condition. Can you imagine that? Sitting there watching someone. I don't mean to make fun of the disease, folks. I feel sorry for this woman in a way. But can you imagine having to sit there and listen to a woman with, "I've got to kill myself." What, Betsy? "I've got to kill myself." Betsy was able to roll her electric wheelchair throughout the house, making sure to spend quality time with each and every one of her guests. Guests were invited to take home a Betsy souvenir, like a piece of artwork, accessory, or beauty product. Her sister placed sticky notes on each of them and explained their significance. Niels Alpert, a cinematographer from NYC, was also at the party. He snapped the photos that are on this website to capture the precious moments. "For me and everyone who was invited," he said, "it was very challenging to consider, but it was no question we had to be there for her." In the background of the lovely, fun, smiles, laughter we had the weekend was the knowledge of what was coming. At the end of the weekend, everyone gathered for a photo and said their goodbyes. Betsy was wheeled out to a canopy bed on the hillside wearing a kimono she bought in 2013 after being diagnosed. 6:45 p.m., Betsy watched her last sunset and took her lethal dose of drugs prescribed by her doctor. She was surrounded by her caretaker, doctor, massage therapist. Yeah, like you really need a massage therapist there with you. "Rub me till I die." Oh, of course, her sister. 4 hours later, she died. What Betsy gave was the most beautiful death that any person could wish for, said one of her friends. By taking charge, she turned her departure into a work of art. There's one woman. I mean, this is crazy, man. Can you imagine being able to, like, know exactly when you're going to die? I mean, even though you have one of these diseases, and I feel sorry for the woman again, you know, it's a touching story, kind of, but man, committing, I mean, we hear about murder-suicides every day. NASCAR driver Robbie Gordon is just having to go through what's apparently a murder-suicide with his parents. But can you imagine, like, legally committing suicide? Like saying, Doc, I want to die. And I want to die on this day, at this time. That's essentially what you're doing. You're picking your own death. Life is not meant to be that way. More power to her, I think. I don't know really what to think of it. I mean, granted, you know, if cancer patients or whatever, you know, they're going to die anyway. You might as well go out on your own terms and tell nature, you know, fuck you. But still, man. If there is a God, I wonder what he thinks about this. Wait. I gave you free will and all, but death is still mine there. Man, that's crazy, man. We'll be right back. We're going to cover a lot of things from last weekend. We're going to get into what's coming up this weekend. As I said, I'm recording this on a Friday, so I'm going to cover Backlash. I'm going to cover UFC. I did watch it on a stream. I only watched the Punk fight. You're listening to New Surge Live. We'll be right back. And welcome back to New Surge Live, folks. Joe White here. I think I'm getting a damn cold. I hate this crap. Season's changing. Fall into spring. You know, the fall is my favorite season, but it's also the one where I get sick. So if you hear me sniffling, I do apologize. Also, it's 8:30 in the morning when I'm recording this, so I did just wake up about 2 hours ago. All right, let's get into it. This past week, UFC 203, CM Punk fought Mickey Gall. I should say got destroyed by Mickey Gall. Completely one-sided fight. Everybody I met after at Backlash, everybody I was talking to, you know, people sitting around me, we were talking about it. My good friend Robert Wells was talking about it with me. Brother. And we were hoping that Punk would win. We had a little bit of hope. You gotta have hope. We knew he wasn't going to win, but we had hope that he would, if that makes any sense. And it was just a complete one-sided fight. You know, Punk went in there with that doe-eyed look on his face. And I'll be honest, I'm a CM Punk fan. Let me rephrase that. Make it a little bit more clear. I'm a CM Punk pro wrestling fan. I don't like MMA or UFC Punk. MMA Punk is a prick. MMA Punk does not care about the business that made him and that gave him the opportunity to have his first ever professional fight in the UFC. People got to realize that would never happen. Never have happened if his reputation had not preceded him. If he hadn't been in WWE, nobody would know who a CM Punk probably is. Now, those on the indie scene, those that have followed him, you know, early days of TNA, Ring of Honor, IWA Mid-South, all that. We knew who Punk was. The industry insiders knew who Punk was. The world did not know who Punk was until he stepped into that WWE ring. Anybody who says otherwise just does not know what they're talking about. Sorry, I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Punk fan. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't belong there, man. Even Dana White after the fight sitting there saying that it probably, his next fight should probably not be in a UFC octagon. Would it have been easier if he started off in one of these, you see the local, come to the local service center, civic center, we're going to have Fight Night Crushing Ram, or whatever the hell they call it. These little indie fights. You're going to see Jimmy Jam versus taking on John the Crusher Thomas, or whatever, in the steel cage, bare knuckle fight. Whatever. See these little rinky dink. They're like the indie scene of MMA is what it is. Maybe we'll see him in Bellator. Chael Sonnen just jumped over to Bellator. CM Punk's good friends with Chael. We're probably seeing Punk in Bellator before we know it, folks. Would I like to see him come back to WWE? Yes. Would I welcome him back with the WWE with open arms? Yes. Would you guys welcome him back to WWE with open arms? That's what I want to know. If you're watching this on YouTube, shoot a comment below. Would you welcome CM Punk back to not just WWE? Would you welcome CM Punk back to professional wrestling with open arms? Leave me a comment about that. Send me an email, newsurgelive@yahoo.com. Tweet me @WrestlingTruck. Let me know, would you welcome CM Punk back to pro wrestling if he chose to go back to it with open arms? I would. In fact, I think the business probably needs somebody like a CM Punk right now more than ever. So yeah, Mickey Gall, 2 minutes and 30-some seconds into the first round. It was over. Joe Rogan on commentary acted like he really didn't give a shit. I admire Punk for what he's doing. Everybody kept saying that all weekend, even all the pro wrestlers. He's got balls to step in there. So does any other fighter that goes into the UFC or any other cage fighting, MMA thing for that matter. I'll be the first to admit you'll never see me doing something stupid like that. I don't have the balls for it. And he's not the first one to do MMA. Bobby Lashley has actually won fights. Brock Lesnar lost his first fight. You don't see everybody sitting there going, well, maybe those two shouldn't be doing this. I guess the difference is in the performance, and just from what we've been hearing about his sparring sessions not going well. CM Punk to me is an entertainer. He's there, his promos are good. His in-ring work in the wrestling business is second to none. He just does not belong in MMA, in my opinion. Not at all. Backlash was this past Sunday. I attended it at the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia. Nowhere near sold out, I'll tell you that much. Floor seats were still available the day before. I sat in the upper level. I had 5 empty seats next to me. Nobody ever showed up. 5 empty extra seats. Got to move down. Wasn't crowded. Got a good view of the action. I don't like sitting on the floor. And people on the floor proved my point, because you have to stand up in order. If if the front row stands up, you better stand up. Otherwise, you're not seeing anything. I got a friend of mine that won't go to a WWE event unless he has floor seats. Never understood that. You see everything just as good if from the upper level or even the lower bowl section even. Had a pre-match show, Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. Baron Corbin was way over here. Way over. The crowd did like Apollo, a.k.a. the King of Strong Smile. Solid match. Baron Corbin getting the win. Not a lot of people expected that. A lot of people cheering for Corbin, though. Opened up Backlash with, well, apparently Johnny Fairplay was in the front row of this thing. He's from Danville. He's from right here in my hometown, my hometown of Danville. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan came out. Daniel Bryan is still way over. And I think if he ever, once his contract with WWE is up, I heard he signed a lengthy deal with them. But once his contract is up, he's going somewhere else, folks. I wouldn't surprised to be seeing him truck himself back to Ring of Honor. But he's going. As soon as he's free from WWE, he's going somewhere else. And I think WWE knows it too. And I think they're scared to death of it. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Bella versus Natalya versus Naomi versus Carmella. Alexa Bliss looking awesome as a Harley Quinn cosplay. Naomi's entrance is way over. Naomi is actually over with the crowd. Becky Lynch obviously was the fan favorite here. Huge pop for Nikki Bella when she came out, but she got that initial quote-unquote Road Warrior pop for her music, but as soon as she hit the stage, crowd fell flat. A lot of women in the audience, grown women cosplaying as Nikki Bella with the Fearless shirt and the short shorts and the baseball cap turned backwards, and the one girl even had Brie mode socks on. I was sitting there hoping that Brie would get, or Nikki would get eliminated. When she got eliminated, I marked the hell out, I'll admit it. I thought for sure they were giving Nikki Bella that belt. But they didn't. They gave it to Becky Lynch, and I was so happy when she got that belt. I was so happy that they made that choice. Moving on, the Usos versus the Hype Brothers for a chance for the tag team titles later on in the evening. Usos are still over. Not everybody's buying the heel turn, folks. Still a lot of kids chanting for the Usos. Hype Bros, everybody knows my opinion on them. I've said on this time many times, I don't like Zack Ryder. I cannot stand Mojo Rawley. I don't like either one of them's in-ring work. I know. Stupid Mark. That match, it was what it was. I mean, it was all right. Probably the worst match on the pay-per-view, in my opinion. I didn't like it. I started to go to the bathroom during it. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. This match was very good live. A lot of people chanting coward at Miz. And, of course, everybody knew Miz was going to go over, Good match. Solid match live. The crowd was hot all night. That's one thing I will say about this. A lot of people thought the crowd was dead, and it did come off as if we were dead on TV. That was so not the case. They don't have the crowd mic'd anymore, I don't think. The old hairspray thing, I like that. That was classic old school heel stuff. Kane versus Bray Wyatt, everybody in there when they were like, he's going to have a no-holds-barred match against this man, the entire building knew it was Kane. And I guess they had to give the crowd something, going through tables and everything like that, because the crowd really did pop for it. Good match. It was actually fairly decent live. I liked it. Randy Orton coming out, hitting the RKO. That crowd went ape shit, myself included. I liked seeing the RKO, man. Next SmackDown pay-per-view, 10-9 for No Mercy, October 9th. The Usos versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Heath Slater is way over. Heath Slater was probably one of the most over people on the entire show. As was Rhino. A lot of vote for Rhino chants and ECW chants. And good, solid tag match. Very good. This pay-per-view seemed like it went by quick. Of course, it ended early. I think it ended at like 10:30. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. This match was so freaking awesome live. A lot of back and forth. Was glad AJ Styles won. I marked the hell out when AJ won. I'll admit it, man, because the man deserves it. Overall, the crowd was awesome live. It was really good. Really good to see live in person. Another pay-per-view. It was the first pay-per-view that they've had in Richmond in about 10 years. The last one was Armageddon of 2006. So it was good to see them come back. And I hope they come back with this brand split. I hope they come back more for SmackDown tapings and stuff like that. It was really good. So that was Backlash. My overall thoughts on the show. Good, very solid show. Very thumbs up. Good work rate. Good work ethic by all involved. They could have had that Usos versus Hype Brothers match on Hype Bros on the pre-show. But other than that, solid show. Very good crowd. Very good to be there live. It was my son's first pay-per-view. And is only his second ever WWE event. It was the first WWE event I've been to in about 4 years. So I had fun. It was good. Everybody rags on WWE, you know. I mean, trust me, I get what you're saying, but still the greatest show on earth to me. I know, I'm a mark. What can I tell you? It's going there live, just the experience of being there with that crowd and you know, hearing the entrance music live and seeing them come out and do their work live. There's nothing like it. Same with indie shows. It's one thing to get the DVDs from High Spots, but then it's another to actually go to a live event. The experience is there. You go for that experience. I had a good experience. Anyway, folks, I'm going to come back, talk a little NASCAR. I'm going to give you my predictions for the chase. Who will be cut in the first round? And I'm going to also give my predictions of who will be crowned NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. We'll be right back. You're listening to New Surge Live. Stay with us. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to New Surge Live. It's time to talk a little NASCAR here. We're too bad we ain't got the Raging Redneck at this time of the chase. I believe last time we were doing the show, they didn't really have the chase going on, or they were just starting it. So the first race of the chase is this coming Sunday, which is probably tomorrow, because I'm going to upload this on a Saturday. And it is at Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Just outside Chicago, obviously. Now, NASCAR's playoffs are a lot different than any other sport. Any other sport, you have the playoffs, and it's only those playoff teams contending. You don't have all the other football players or all the other football teams still playing games. NASCAR, the chase starts off with 16. You still have What is this? They typically have around 40 drivers, so you take 16 away from that. Oh, God, math on the fly. Here we go. Oof. So yeah, minus 16, that gives you 40, 50, or 30. 24 drivers still out there on the racetrack. 27 if the field is up to 43. So you still have other drivers out there racing because they want to win. They want the money that goes with winning. So here's your chase grid. For Chicago, New Hampshire, and Dover. So here's the way they race it. They do 3 races, and then they take the team of 16, cut 4 from that, and you get 12. Then you have Charlotte, Kansas, and Talladega, another 3 races. They cut it down to 8 after that. Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. They cut it down to 4. So where you only have those 4 drivers out of all the other 40 people that are vying for the championship. Keep in mind, it's not just those 4 racing. You still have 36 other people out there when we get to Homestead, Miami. A lot can happen. A lot has happened in the past. One of those drivers that are not in the chase wrecks you, puts you into the wall, gets up underneath your rear end, spins you around. Guess what? You probably just lost your chance at a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series title. This is a very unique sport, NASCAR. That's kind of why I like this chase format. So heading into Chicago this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and order. I'm on NASCAR.com/grid. And that's where you can find the chase grid, NASCAR.com/GRID, if you want to follow along with me. May look a little bit different if you're listening to this after the Chicagoland race. Well, actually, maybe not. The point standings. That's another thing they do. They reset the point standings. I think they give everybody 2,000 points, and then for each win you've had during the season, you get a certain amount of points. You know what I think they should do? I think they should do polls too. If you won a poll during the year, that's a point. Apparently the categories. Okay. So your chase grid. You have Kyle Busch and his number 18 Toyota. Brad Keselowski driving the Blue Deuce Ford. Denny Hamlin, the number 11 FedEx Toyota. Kevin Harvick in his number 4 Chevy. Carl Edwards. Martin Truex Jr., who is probably going to be my dark horse for the chase. I could see him making it to the Final Four, and we'll get more into that here in a minute. Matt Kenseth. Jimmy Johnson, old 5-time, I think. Or is it 6? I don't know. He's trying to keep up with Booker T, maybe. Joey Logano, who's actually done very well this year, I think. Kyle Larson. Tony Stewart, who is actually retiring this year. Kurt Busch is in it as well. So you got both Kurt and Kyle Buschy. Then you have Chris Buescher, who is a rookie this year, who got a win, I believe, at Michigan. And he's like he's the only rookie in the chase, I think. No, he's not. Austin Dillon's in there. Is Austin Dillon a rookie? I don't know. Chase Elliott's a rookie this year, I believe. Son of Bill Elliott. So you got Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, and then Jamie McMurray, who barely squeaked into the chase, and that was only because Ryan Newman got wrecked by Tony Stewart in the last race here. So there's your grid of 16. Who do I think makes it over and gets cut at least? After Dover in 2 weeks? I think we see Matt Kenseth gone. Going to be bold here. Matt Kenseth is gone. Chris Buescher, I think, is going to be out the way. As much as I don't want him gone, Austin Dillon's going to be gone. And I think Tony Stewart's going to drop off too. So it's Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Chris Buescher, and Austin Dillon. I think those 4 are going to be gone. The rest of those guys I mentioned previously are going to move on to Charlotte. It's a night race at Charlotte. Then they go on to Kansas and Talladega, which is a super speedway, restrictor plate race. As far as who's going to win, Keselowski's been good this year, but I don't think Keselowski's going to win. I think, bold prediction here, I think with the change in pit crew, it's going to come down to 2 people out of that 4. Your final 4, I believe, are going to be Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and maybe Kevin Harvick. I'll go ahead and say Kevin Harvick. So Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. is actually running damn good this year. He's like the one that you need to watch out for. He's the sleeper in this group, if you will. So there's your final 4. Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. Out of those 4, who has the best to win it? As your top 4 of the year, I honestly see Martin Truex Jr. coming in 4th in points. I believe Brad Keselowski be 3rd. So that brings it down to Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, who have been having good years. Aside for the pit crew situation on Harvick's side of things, Harvick's been having a pretty good year. But I think Denny Hamlin's going to take it. I think Denny Hamlin, as much as people say Denny Hamlin's a crybaby, and that may not be the most popular choice, and I'm not just saying that because he's, from Virginia and from Chesterfield, where I'm originally from, and all that mess. I truly think Denny Hamlin has pretty much been having consistency. The win at Richmond obviously gives him the momentum. So I think Denny Hamlin's going to take it all the way through. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Joey Logano takes the whole damn thing. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Tony Stewart comes in. He's retiring his very last year in the series. He's been wrecking people left and right lately, so it would not surprise me to see one of the drivers that did not make the chase because of Stewart put him in the wall and ruin his chances. But who knows? Maybe Tony Stewart with his last year. There's a lot of good storylines coming into this with NASCAR. Football has all these storylines of who's getting arrested, who's getting suspended, who's been doing drugs, this. NASCAR has storylines of whose pit crew's going to get fired this week. And who's going to extract revenge on chase contenders because they got put in the wall and did not make the chase, like a Ryan Newman. What's the worst that can happen? Ryan Newman pays back Tony Stewart. NASCAR slaps him with a little fine. Calls him into the big red hauler and gives him a talking to after the race. That's all fine, well, and good. It lasts maybe a week, a little bit of money out of your pocket that you can always make back. But Tony Stewart, this is your last year in the series. Do you really want to be making enemies when you are in that chase, when you are in contention for a title? It's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's going to do it for me this week, folks. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at WrestlingTruck, Facebook.com/NewSurgeLive. I've been getting a lot of views on that page lately. I want to thank everybody for viewing that webpage. I'm sorry it has not been updated. I'm sorry I have not done an episode in so long. But I promise you with this new network coming, I will try to get one done every week. I switched jobs. I'm off every Friday and Saturday now. So I think my record days are going to be on Fridays. Post days are going to be on Saturdays after I edit. Maybe even late Friday night. So I hope to be back with you guys more. And until next time, folks, thank you so much for your support. We'll see you down the road.
Bye, kids.
Goodbye!
Goodbye! Say goodbye, Le Chiquame.
Mama, la chiquame.
Goodbye, farewell.